prospect of a camp that was all women was very exciting to me, and the title, Peacemakers, just I really identified with.
People of the world, people of the world, join your...
Women are so often ignored and not included, and purposefully not included in a lot of activities, politically, socially, whatever it may be. So it's really important to have a younger generation of women to become involved in peacemaking and peacekeeping and peace activities in general.
And so we advertised the opportunity to come here to Thinkers Lodge to have a weekend. And so it was an opportunity for us to welcome young women to look at leadership roles within the peace movement, and that did have an attitude of focusing on those issues related that women could make a difference. So we put on the camp with that in mind, and we set out principles for those camps with that in mind, that they would be looking at this through a feminist perspective, they would have a feminist analysis of looking at peace issues, and that they would have an opportunity to see how they could apply this back in their own lives in whatever kind of settings that worked for them.
Assumption that everyone knows who he is. He has been associated with Pugwash.
Young women have a lot of energy and ability to have an influence in this particular climate and era, and so I think having them together to give them confidence as well as providing ideas for how they can move forward on issues related to peace and security are critical at this particular point in our history. And we need to find new ways to do things, because the old ways of doing things have not provided us with solutions to a lot of the problems we're facing right now. So conflict is something that has been breaking out in a lot of areas of the world, and we need to find new ways to deal with it and prevent it. And so we need young people who are willing to think outside the box and differently and engage them and give them the confidence that they need to be able to think that they have an ability to impact it.
We're looking at the issues of the United Nations Resolution 1325, which is a resolution around involving women at the negotiating table. So looking at it in that structural sense, in the international governmental sense, so there's that aspect. Then there's the personal. Where does the personal fit into that, and our own personal views? And we're going to have a leader within the Aboriginal movement, Idle No More, a young woman who's been involved in that, is going to look at it from that perspective. So you start with the personal, you start with your own area you live in, your own involvement, and make the connection to the national and international. So we've tried to make the topics have that kind of variety, but to have it in a flow that people can then start applying it to themselves. And so the end of the camp is one where they're looking at where do they want to take this knowledge, what kind of way do they want to apply it, what kind of goals do they want to set. And then those of us, there's a number of groups that are part of this camp. There's the YWCA, Peaceful Schools International, the Physicians for Global Survival. So we're all going to be present here on the last day of the camp. And so as they talk about their goals and their dreams of things they'd like to move on and be part of, we will be part of that, sort of helping to identify any mentoring opportunities, what resources there might be, and other ideas of things that they might not be aware of. And there's the flow the other way. We get to know the things they're doing that can be connected with back to those organizations. So a two-way discussion.
And you have confidence that you know how.
So it's got this so many tentacles to it. It's not like we're here and we want to have one goal that's a narrow goal. I just see it as these tentacles. I see it as like a spider's web that just keeps growing and making connections and will ebb and flow according to lives. And I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that in the young women's faces.
I believe that camp is very important for women, especially young women in Atlantic Canada, because it gives us the opportunity to come together and really discuss issues that we're facing in our different regions, and just having a nice, warm space to really join together and discuss what's on our mind.
And I think it's also important to become very comfortable with the people that you are at a conference with, to be able to have those discussions. And it's easier, I think, to become more comfortable more quickly with a group of your own gender.
So having a camp with only women is ideal.
This camp is just, it's an enlightenment to me. It's like seeing a whole new perspective on life and trying to get that perspective and learn something from it and take it forward.
I'm so motivated to help with whatever I can. I also feel really, really inspired. The other girls that are here are just amazing, and it was just great to meet them and see what everyone else is doing in the world and how we can all work together and make the world a better place.
The contacts that I've made, the new allies that I've gained from this experience are going to be incredibly valuable, and I believe that's one of the strongest things that you take away from any conference or camp. And just learning about Voice of Women, what they stood for, what Muriel Duckworth has done, that's a role model to me now. These women are all mentors to me, and it's been incredible to meet them and to now be able to discuss issues with them and be guided by them, by all their experiences and their huge amount of knowledge.
I really believe that if we take practical measures, even if they're small, and even if it's just one person, and if you only make a change to one person in the world, that is something that is a tangible difference that you're making. So I think that's where the hope comes from, is to see that there are things we can do, and let's be positive about those things that we can do and not be frustrated by the systemic challenges that exist. Instead, if every person on this planet took it upon themselves to make a difference somehow, then we would have a better planet to live on. And so yeah, I am hopeful, and I'm particularly hopeful when I look at young people and kind of new ways that they have to interact with each other, new strategies, new ways of thinking. And I say that someone who's been around the world and has been dealing with people in conflict zones, and if I can see hope in them, then I should be hopeful.
I really hope we can continue this. This is the first Atlantic Voice of Women Peacemakers camp for young women, and that it really has opened a lot of our eyes, and I hope that myself and these other women will be able to carry the torch.
My heart is happy, my heart is at peace, and it's a good feeling to have. It's just like your heart is smiling.
People of the world, people of the world.